On July 4th, and we are just out here walking around, having a cup of coffee and walking through the garden, preparing to water and harvest. And we thought there was no better time than today in this beautiful sunshine, and the fact that I must have 20 monarch butterflies dancing around me right now. Hopefully I can get some shots. We thought we would give you a quick garden tour and show you what we are about to harvest for today's meal. So let's get started and go for a walk through our backyard garden. Everything is really springing to life this first week of July. We went through the heat dome again, and we had a few casualties. I lost all of my mortgage lifter tomatoes, but it's okay because when we get to the back, you'll see why. I'm not really going to sweat that so much. But this year, we planted something new. We did some gladiola bulbs from Costco this spring, and gosh, I wish I would have bought more. So I just put them in places where I knew I would see them as I walk around and harvest, and this turned out to be a really great spot. So as we walk around, I'll be having you focused on the actual plants and flowers, and see if we can get you through a fairly quick tour so you can get to see everything, but we won't need to take up all of your time. So let's get a closer look at some things that are in bloom and fruit that is about to be harvested. It turns out I'm having a successful cucumber year, and this is all telegraph cucumbers from Botanical Interest. This is truly an English cucumber, which is, I don't know, I think this cucumber here is 18 inches long, and it is delicious. It's not, too big where it's gone to seed. It did have a little bit of a curl in it, and it's starting to straighten itself out. So I don't know if you can see, but this entire plant is covered in cucumbers. So I normally like Marketmore and Marketmore 76 or Burpless Beauty, but this plant is what's putting out this year, and I'm going to accept it gratefully because last year I had a handful of cucumbers and that was it. But this year it had a different idea. Now here's another one. This one will be ready tomorrow. Look at that. I mean, I don't know if you've ever bought these in the store before, or if you're a fan of English cucumbers. They are slightly different. They're not as crisp as your more common cucumbers, but they do have a little bit of a different flavor. Now I'm wondering if they got a better start this year because I had peas in those beds, and over here I had a ton of borage. So this is the Parks Whopper 2 cucumber, and you can see that this has these are going to be big giant cucumbers as well. We have a little lanternfly nymph that we're going to have to get. We don't have as many of those this year, which is a relief, but everything's growing very happily. I'm loving the cosmos this year. We have a lot of Dr. Witchy's finally starting to come up. Dr. Witchy's took its time this year, gave me a little bit of a panic attack. I thought we were going to lose it like we did with our mortgage lifters, but it's okay. Pineapple tomatoes growing absolutely beautiful. and Kellogg's breakfast is doing its thing. I have to stop to show you this beautiful cosmos. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. But yeah, so Kellogg's turned up early, and this was actually one of the first tomatoes that I harvested. But it's not the most beautiful tomato. I'm realizing Kellogg's breakfast does some weird stuff, but they get strange shapes here for me. Last year they did too, but look, lots of babies. Yay. And I have a lot of beautiful apricota cosmos blooming as well. I cannot wait to get seeds from this. Hopefully I'll be able to successfully harvest seeds. This has been my thing this year. This is what the earth is giving me. I am getting a whole new education on how to harvest seeds, how to identify seeds, and you know, the best time to actually sow them. Yesterday we did larkspur and bachelor button. I found some different petunia seeds. It was just really incredible. So we had a good time with that. And also, I didn't really get into this with you. This is lavender that I've grown from seed, and it's doing really, really well. I have several different varieties that is growing. And again, from seed, I started in spring. So now I have a whole new tray of Munstead, True Lavender. I have a couple of other varieties, but I'm pretty excited because this was all a test to see if we could grow our own herbaceous border. It looks like we're on track to do that. Now the corn is so majestic this year. Wow, it is at least 9 feet tall. And you know, every year I look at it and I say, this corn is so needy, it's so thirsty, but you know, John comes out and sows the seed, and I carry it until it's, you know, ready to be corn. And by the end of this month here, we will be harvesting ears, and the corn stalks will come down rapidly, so we can sow different seeds in this bed. But even our green beans this year have produced just incredibly. Burgundy beans, these are all bush beans. I have Contender, Taverna, 2 different vendors of Blue Lake bush beans. The jade beans were the only ones that didn't come up, and they've been, you know, traditionally a problem, but I think I have a few other varieties in here as well, so we couldn't be happier about a healthy batch of green beans, considering this bed was a whole new batch of soil this year. The corn is incredible. So this morning we have already harvested 2 varieties of zucchini. The bees are back here very, very happily pollinating these flowers. We did find a few squash bug egg sacs, but it's all good. Our melon patch back here is doing incredible. So this is where I planted the 3 varieties of melon seeds that I harvested from melons that I bought at the store. So it would be the orange flesh melon, the summer kiss, and the sugar kiss. So the theory of planting squash, beans, and corn and melons together really does work. This is a very, very happy area. There's so much to see. The eggplants are doing well. This was a new bed this year where the cicada killers are awake. We have a lot of basil tucked in here. Lemon basil, lime basil, purple opal, and they're growing with notapeno, shishito, and this is pepperoncini, and then I have Megatron over on the other side, jalapenos. That's a whole other conversation we're going to have, you guys. Listen, can you please tell me if you are growing Megatron jalapenos from Botanical Interest and you actually started harvesting them? Can you please tell me what your experience has been so far? Because I didn't harvest it yet, but we have one that's almost full size, and I touched it, and it's a conversation to be had. So these are daytil peppers. Yay! The daytil peppers grow into bushes, you guys. So if you're one of those lucky people who got 300 packs of free daytil seed peppers, wow, we're in for a surprise. So tell me what your experience was if you've grown and harvested daytil peppers. So yeah, pretty excited about this bed. Over here we have Bonnie Best, which was a free seed from Baker Creek. doing really, really well. And check this out, you guys. Dr. Witchies, they're over a pound a piece, I sense. So hopefully we'll be getting to those soon. Roma tomatoes are doing really, really well. We are still pulling off some blossom end rot tomatoes, but overall the production of fruit has been our greatest year of healthy tomatoes so far. And while there are still, like I said, there's still some blossom end rot that we're pulling off. It's very sporadic through the plants, but overall we're going to have the biggest production. So I'm really grateful for that. And then we have all of our volunteer cosmos here, which are really, really beautiful. Lots of pollinators. I'm so excited that these were all volunteers that we transplanted, and everything is really, really happy. So now we're going to walk through the backside of the tomato and pepper area so you can see all of that. How lucky are we though? So grateful, so, so grateful for this. Now, this is a new bed for us this year. The shade cloth for peppers, you guys, night and day difference. I highly recommend if you're trying to grow peppers or whatever and you have just too much sun to get yourself some shade cloth. We can attach that video for you, and we'll attach the links for the shade cloth that we bought if you haven't seen that. We have masses of full-size peppers. This is the Sunbright bell pepper that I purchased from the sale with M.I. Gardner last year, as well as the coral bells. We have clusters of full-size peppers. And then something really cool I'm going to show you on this side of this new pepper bed, besides these beautiful volunteer petunias, is my banana peppers. Now I'm going to be harvesting these in a moment, so you'll want to stay to the end to see what we harvest. But my banana peppers have gone fully mature in here and have turned orange, so we'll give you a closer look at our basket. But this bed's doing really great. I'm going to turn around and give you this odd view of this trellis, which is full of German pink and brandywine. Now, someone suggested in another video that these could be German queen, which they could be. They certainly are very royal. I mean, these are big, giant tomatoes. So either way, the success for these brandywines and Germans, you guys, I think was because I isolated my potato leaf tomatoes onto a trellis all by themselves. I've given them nearly no pruning. Look at the size of the blossoms. Really just incredible. These are putting out the biggest tomatoes. There's tomatoes all over the plants. And so having big tomatoes waiting to ripen on the vine down low has not affected the output of new future tomatoes. So you see we have clusters. They ended up being disease-free back here, producing tons of fruit. So this was a great move. I can't wait for you guys to be here when we harvest tomatoes from this plant. These zinnias and cosmos were volunteers that I had said in another video. Are very appropriately marked pink flowers for pink tomatoes. This is Jersey Devil, which has been giving me a run for my money. It started off with a lot of blossom end rot on the bottom. Then it gave us some healthy tomatoes that are growing. And I thought we were out of the woods with it. But then all of a sudden I'll find a cluster of blossom end rot up top, which will be right next to perfectly beautiful, healthy, well-developed tomatoes. So we're having some uptake issues. I'm not going to take the blame completely because, you know, we have been in unprecedented heat, but we have healthy ones and then we have a few that are sick. And honestly, there's so many tomatoes that it's okay if a few, you know, suffer a little bit. We're just staying on it. We have to be patient with the earth, you guys. These are volunteer bright lights cosmos, which are mixed in with volunteer borage and some beautiful purple petra basil that I've planted. We've had the most incredible year so far. I don't know if you can see inside of the nadapenos, and the shishitos again need to be harvested again. I've been having to pull them daily. These shishito peppers are not mild heat. I don't know what happened. but they're very, very hot. These shishito peppers were from M.I. Gardner and completely different in texture and flavor than the Baker Creek. So next year I'll be growing some more Baker Creek because they sent me the free seed, which was awesome. So lots and lots of daily peppers. And there's another pepper bed that we'll be getting to, again, under the shade cloth, which has just been the best thing in the world. Now, these tomatoes, just incredible. Hungarian Heart's giving me a little bit of run for my money. And I don't know if this is happening to you as well, but I got a little bit of blight, which I notice is coming from suckers. So this is going to be another lesson, you guys, on why you should go down to single stem plants and keep everything well pruned. Now, these are the pink hearts from M.I. Gardner, and these are the ox hearts from Baker Creek. The pink Hungarian heart from M.I. Gardner is doing better this year. It has less disease, so maybe next year I'll go with these guys. There are flowers up top, which is very promising considered we've had this unprecedented heat. Now, Abe Lincoln, okay, look, got blossoms up top in spite of the fact that I have these giant tomatoes here. This cluster will be coming off today because we are expecting more rain, and they did start to crack in the last rainstorm, but hopefully you can see Abe's got a little bit of blush. So it'll be plenty of gases in there for it to ripen up on the countertop and ensure that it doesn't get any more cracking. Now, these guys here are classic beef, which are classic beef steak tomatoes. Their disease really slowed down. Something like this is common with a little bit of spot on it, but we have some blossoms up top for classic beef, which is very promising for August and September tomatoes to be growing. Arkansas Traveler, what an incredible plant. They don't bother anybody. They're really have healthy leaves, lots of trusses of tomatoes, nice big healthy clusters. We haven't seen really any disease on these, knock on wood. I'm super happy with that. I, right at this moment, have a cicada killing wasp that continues to land on my head. So if you hear me acting a little strange, I may even let out a scream. Who knows? Hopefully that won't happen, you guys. Over here, wow, this has been incredible. These pepper plants are so big. I have full-size Park Swapper 2. I have California Golden Wonder. None have turned yellow yet, but this is the yellow variety. And then we have Keystone Resistant down there. So I'll just turn you around. Hopefully you can see some of these shishitos. This cicada killer is currently landing on my shoulder, and I'm not sure how I'm keeping my cool. I'm trying to be at one with these harassing bugs, you guys, but it is not easy. Look, clusters of Keystone Resistant. The shade cloth has made a huge difference. Now this piece here is the 30%, but I'm under the canopy of 40% shade cloth. Again, you might want to check that out. If you missed those videos, we'll put a link for the product for you. It's very affordable, well worth it for your investment of seed and time into getting these plants to grow. You want to make sure you can get to harvest, you guys. I'm hearing people say, oh, I don't care, I have enough if it goes to waste, I have enough to share with the birds. You can only harvest so much. This garden for us is about production and finding ways to extend our growing season and making sure that we get healthy fruits, because the investment of my time is paramount. So I want to make sure everything I do is worth the time that I'm spending. The investment of soil and water and fertilizer and the space and the energy and the time I put in. This is giant Marconi over here. 3 plants of each, 3 Marconis, 3 Nardellos, and then 3 Cubaneas. Everything is producing wonderfully. The Jimmy Nardellos have been going to, there's some in the back, a little hard to see, that are ripening on the vine and just doing incredibly well. This giant Marconi under the shade here is all the way up to this top ring. Figure out if I can get in here and show you, but I'm going to have to make some adjustments to the shade cloth now because they grew happier than I could have ever imagined. Last year we lost our Cubaneas as well with the leaf drop that happened from all that early rain. I got the plants to come back to life. I can probably give you a link to that video on what I did to treat the peppers last year to get them to come back, so you can have a look at that. But this year I haven't had to do that. Everything's been incredible. It's going to be a scorcher today, you guys. Now behind me, here's an example I'll be able to show you of tomatoes that are very moody. The botanical or the Baker Creek Amish paste are just moody tomatoes. Some of them are already ripening, so I'll be pulling an early harvest of those. And I always plant them next to San Marzano Lungo too, which I keep talking about as a mixture of some random tomatoes. This is what we assume is an Abruzzi pear that came with it. And then we have a little bit of free blossom and rot Abruzzi pears. So we always just pull those off. This is never going to recover. So if you have random tomatoes on your plants, you guys, just pull them off. And then some are fine. So you can just tell when you have a blossom and rot tomato because it kind of flattens out in its growth pattern. So you'll start to learn to tell from a distance which ones are healthy and when to go in after a tomato. But you see the ones right next to it are just fine. Now this seems to be even yet a different tomato that grew. Out of the past 3 years we've been growing from this pack of seeds, I have not had this shape yet. So it's like somebody pulled a trick on us and just gave us a whole packet of random tomato seeds. Now it doesn't look like it's really going to be a problem. This is truly a San Marzano Lungo too. That's just going to be black inside, so I'm just going to pull it off. But we have another Abruzzi pear, and down here we have more true San Marzano Lungo too. Everything is doing really good. So I've been harvesting carrots every few days, and I'm getting full-size carrots this year, you guys. And my carrot tops have been full of swallowtail caterpillars, and you don't see them right away. But be careful when you when you pull your carrots out this year and you cut your tops off. Just maybe you can put them back into a bed and leave them to compost so the caterpillars have the opportunity to climb off and go back into the canopy so they can become butterflies. So we didn't realize for years that we had caterpillar eggs in there, and we were just disposing of our carrot tops, but it turns out that they're a little treasure. Now these are Amish paste from M.I. Gardener, doing incredibly well. We are loaded down with fruits. So my tomato sauce and paste production this year is going to be epic. These are San Marzano from M.I. Gardener. Again, sporadic blossom and rot. The year started off rough and I thought, okay, it's going to be another year like last year where the plants melt and we get nothing. But I moved them to a new location. I gave them a big feeding, a lot of calcium, and the M.I. Gardener San Marzanos are doing incredible. So there's nothing like having success in your plants as they grow. Now, I kind of breezed by. I'll go back around this way. In case you're growing giant crimson for the first year from M.I. Gardener, here's what this plant looks like. And tomatoes are doing really great. There's no disease. We had a few random blossom and rots that we pulled off, but it was no big deal. And Park's Whoppers have been random blossom and rots, but yesterday we harvested our first tomatoes, which was consisting of Park's Whopper and the Bonnie Best. So more Park's Whopper getting ready today. So Park's Whopper always fools us into saying, okay, it's going to be the first tomato, but maybe not. And then it usually turns out to be one of the first tomatoes anyway. So we're always happy to have Park's Whopper. And this year they're doing better because last year they were short and squatty, but this year I went back to not pruning them at all, except for anything that gets a little bit of disease. And they are setting a new canopy and we're waiting for new flowers. So I'm going to make sure I give them some food, some good fertilizer, so they can go back into production after we harvest the babies. But these are Roma tomatoes, just regular Roma tomatoes from M.I. Gardener. Bush tomatoes. Now the San Marzano, in case you're new at this, San Marzanos are pole tomatoes, still considered for paste. And the Roma tomatoes are for paste and sauce. And you can see that these are bush tomatoes. There's no vining, no climbing. They get nice and big. And these guys are doing really incredible. So I have 6 of these plants. It's going to be major Roma tomato production this year, you guys, which will be starting soon. So I'll be getting everything started. Hopefully you'll come along with us along the way to see how I make my tomato sauce, because I make a year of tomato sauce. Sometimes you'll hear me say gravy, but I have to stop saying gravy because Robin was, kind enough to tell me, why do you say, I asked, do you say gravy or do you say sauce? And she said she only calls tomato gravy if it has meat in it. If it doesn't have meat in it, it's sauce. And we are happy vegetarians, so I have to start saying sauce and not saying gravy. Now, we are still under construction out here, but I'm going to take a quick walk around to everything that's been growing, so you can get a look. Sorry for the shaky camera. Our daylily production this year in this daylily bed was just incredible. So we do have some shots of the daylilies as they were blooming that we'll add in for you. So make sure you let us know if you stayed long enough to see the daylily tour, and what you think of these varieties. These were all split from our original daylily purchases that we've had bought from QVC a few years ago, and we never split them. And then Farmer John this year split all of the plants and moved them over and created this new bed here. Actually, he did that in the fall, and we were waiting patiently. Look at here comes the beautiful sunflowers that we planted. It's strange because they all want to look east. So we need to plant them in a new location next year so that we get to see their faces, their happy little faces, as they grow nice and tall. Our Costco Yardistry greenhouse holding up. I still never got to seal it because the weather was too weird. It's got its natural gray patina on there, but this year we will be sealing it for sure. We have some Diablo cosmos, which are very, very similar to Bright Lights cosmos. They do have a little bit more intensity in striation and deepness of oranges in them, but tons of bachelor button all going to seed. I have to get to that. We had a bunch of larkspur, which did incredibly well. It was so beautiful. And again, we harvested more seed from that. So next year we're going to have larkspur absolutely everywhere. So this bed was interesting. And you can see we moved our small obelisk that we bought from Amazon. We can attach a link for that product for you over here because we moved the giant obelisk into their location. Bachelor's button. These are blue bachelor's button, you guys. They have been so beautiful. Today we're cleaning up all of our random pots and getting all of our soil put into compost so we can make sure we don't waste any soil of things that are spent in different pots, and we'll reutilize that next year. But look, here are the obelisks that we got from Gardener's Supply. Now we went ahead. Hi, butterfly. We have tons of butterflies back here. I'm telling you, there must be 20 butterflies floating around today, you guys. A lot of these zinnias that are in the rocks were volunteers. And this was the area where we had our sweet peas. And those sweet peas absolutely devoured those little black obelisks. So when we bought these obelisks, they were going to originally be for a jasmine vine and a honeysuckle. But thankfully I was able to go to a place where I could experience the fragrance from those plants before I ordered them. And I'm happy to say they made me sneeze, and they were a little bit aromatically overwhelming for me, and they gave me a fragrance headache. So instead we are planting annual cardinal vine in there, which will grow up for now. And then next year we're going to have a bunch of varieties of sweet peas, probably close to 10 varieties of sweet peas that will be growing. And so the fragrance should be absolutely incredible. For now it's supporting the gladiolas that we bought from Costco, a lot of volunteer zinnias, and some colors that we didn't have last year, which are just incredible. We're loving the zinnias. And then over here is the Hearty hibiscus that I planted last year. Didn't get much production out of it, but this year it is really taking off. Gosh, the petals, I hope you can see, are several shades of colors. Really just gorgeous. More zinnia volunteers. And sadly, we removed all of our snapdragons, which were rusted so bad that the rust was like tar on my hands. It was very, very scary. So no snapdragons this year, you guys, but we are grateful, and the bees are grateful. They're instead coming out. We come out at night and then early in the morning, and the bumblebees and the honeybees are literally curled up, sleeping inside of the zinnias and cosmos. It is a sight to behold. We are so happy to see that and know that they found something else to live in instead of snapdragons. There's still so much to show you guys, but these videos can be very long. I'm going to introduce you to two new statuaries we bought this week. They were incredible finds on price and product that I'm going to give you a closer look and tell you what their names are. This lovely lady right here I found in Home Goods on a whim when I went to Sprouts to buy products or organic seeds where I make my own bird food. This lovely statue is extraordinarily heavy. It turns out it is made from crushed marble and resin, so it's not a hollow statue. She was on sale for $100 at Home Goods. She is stunning in detail. It's by enigmahomeandgarden.com. Maybe if you see these somewhere, she's well sculpted, absolutely stunningly beautiful, lots and lots of details. So the statuary name is Victoria, but we are calling her Ashwin. Ashwyn. We'll spell that there. She is a maiden of the meadow. So, every one of our statues has a title and they have a purpose. Now, this new little statuary, which is guarding the pond because the herring came and literally left us with one fish. It hasn't stopped since I added these two statuaries, so it's sparing us, but look at this one here. It may be hard to hear me with the waterfall running, but this little statue here we are calling Fern Lily. And I'm going to spell that for you also. P-H-Y-R-N-E-L-I-L-Y. Fern Lily. She is the guardian of the bog and watcher of the water. That is her title and her job here. So she has a little frog in her palms as she watches the garden for us and the water. Hopefully, we do have some new baby fish that you can't see them because they're fry, and when they're that small, they're just black and gray. So hopefully we'll get a new round of fish, and you could see that giant bird was seriously harassing us. So one little fish right now that we can see is hiding down there. Lots of flowers popping up here, different daylilies and Shasta daisies. More Mexican sunflowers and gladiolas. The hummingbird has been coming to land on the sunflowers. Yesterday we had a beautiful visit with it back in the garden. It was very, very close to us. And then I have verbena. I have yarrow growing here. There's freesia coming up and lots of things. This is going to be our random meadow that we feel just looks so beautiful over the pond area, and the views in the morning as we stand back. See if I can try to capture this for you. Is just stunning as we sit back here in this little area. So beautiful. And here's Farmer John harvesting blueberries. Hey guys. It's probably not the best time to harvest blueberries. It's better if you harvest them in the afternoon after they've gone through some heat. But it's going to be very hot today, and we have a lot of chores on the list, don't we?
That's correct.
Oh wow, look at that big bowl of blueberries.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm not even through the first bush here, so.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I'll be getting more, and you can see that there's plenty more to pick.
Incredible.
And there's more to follow, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so worth it planting some blueberries.
Yeah.
Really, they're organic. You can't beat this. You can't get better berries anywhere, so.
And they're delicious.
They're absolutely
And they
delicious.
actually taste like blueberries. So,
Yes,
I mean,
they have flavor.
They have flavor. Now, also back here, you guys, I don't know if you can see, but in this netted area, We can attach a link for this net for you and how we built these poles. Look at the blackberries. They're giant blackberries. Now, if you're growing brambles and you're waiting patiently for your blackberries, wait for the fruit to turn completely black, and if it's still shiny and you take a stab at it, you're probably going to find that it is a sour fruit. So wait for the fruit itself to dull before you start harvesting that. Same thing with the blueberries. If you're growing blueberries for the first time, you don't want to pick them until they get nice and deep blue and they almost look like they have a haze over them. That's when they are at their peak ripeness. Well, that turned out to be a little bit longer than I intended. I should have been watering everything because we're going to have more epic heat today. But yeah, so that was our early July garden tour, you guys. If you enjoyed that, please give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our channel. If you don't know us yet and this is your first time stopping here, my name is Leigh, and behind me you met Farmer John. We are suburban gardeners in northwestern Burlington County, New Jersey, and we love growing fruit and vegetables, and we are developing this entire property here. Over the last 10 years it has taken us to get this far. When I tell you there was nothing here, it was just a yard full of grass. So you know, we're hoping to inspire everyone to grow some gardens. So if you're interested in that and you're looking for some motivation and different inspiration to do something yourself, again, please subscribe to the channel and join us on our morning garden tours through the spring and summer. And we even grow vegetables through late fall into winter. So thanks again for spending the morning with me. Happy 4th of July. I hope you have a safe, wonderful weekend. And thanks again for spending this time with us on our tour. Hope to see you all in the next video.